welcome back. It's always good catching up with you. Today, we look at an interesting topic, a topic on child rights. Oftentimes, as adults, we get engrossed in our adulting activities that we end up providing the children under our care the bare minimum, thinking that it's the best possible care, or we just do not allow these children or facilitate these children with conducive environment to enjoy their rights. Kindly join me as we explore this topic further from a practical perspective.
Now, for the purposes of our today's discussion, we shall look at a case study to put all that we're going to discuss in context. We shall read Sally, not her real name, is a 16-year-old girl hailing from Lesos village, Uasin Gishu County. She is the firstborn in a family of four children, one boy, three girls, the youngest being 6 years old. Her father died 5 years ago after a short period of illness. Sally's mother, who was the family's breadwinner, lost her eyesight barely a year after their father's death. The cause of her blindness was attributed to her diabetic condition, which did not get adequate medical care and dietary requirements. Sally lives with her mother and siblings in deplorable condition. The neighbors want nothing to do with them, and the family has been labeled cursed. On a lucky day, when well-wishers visit, they get to have two meals, but mostly it's either one meal a day or going without it at all. Her second-born brother is sickly. He is anemic. Sally dropped out of school to take care of her ailing mother and siblings. She looks for casual jobs in the village to get money for survival. One evening, Sally was defiled by a known person when she was returning late from work. She got pregnant and bore a child who is a year old. Life is tough in the family, and all the children look severely malnourished. They are all not in school, and their mother's health condition is deteriorating by day. Looking at this case study, you and I will agree that these are children in need of care and protection. They need urgent intervention to ensure their growth, development, and survival. From needs assessment of this case, we can identify the following needs. One, there is physiological needs. These children do not have food in the house and they do not have clothing, as you can tell. So, physiological needs ensure survival of anyone. Safety needs is the second kind of need that we have identified from this case study. These children do not have a caregiver. The mother has gone blind and she is incapacitated and therefore cannot help these children or protect these children in case of harm or abuse of any kind. There is also medical need that can be identified from the case study. The brother is sickling, is anemic, the mother is also sick, and the children are all severely malnourished. There is also another need, psychosocial need. These children have gone through so much trauma from the passing of their father, the mother going blind, lack of basic needs, dropping out of school, child's defilement, and the mother of them all, discrimination from neighbors who have labeled that family caste. There is also legal needs that you can identify. Child's defilement case has not been taken up and she has not been accorded the justice she deserves. Education-wise, all these children are not in school, and therefore this makes this a need in this case study. So this begs a question of all these needs, do these children have rights in the first place? Who is supposed to ensure that they enjoy their rights so that they can live a happy, fulfilling life as children like other children in the world? Let us look at the term child rights, explain it further so that you can be able to understand whether these children have rights and who is supposed to ensure that these children indeed enjoy these rights. The term child rights, it's not new to most of us. Actually, it's not new to almost all of us. I want to live. But we will need to look at it. What is it? So basically, child rights is a special human right that is applicable to children. You may ask yourself, why are they special? They are special because children are in a special developmental phase and they require specific rights to ensure they receive adequate protection and are nurtured and empowered to help them grow and develop fully. So there are special human rights applicable to children. So these child rights are enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, usually known as the UNCRC, which is a legally binding document that articulates the rights of a child, and it is the most widely approved or ratified human rights treaty globally. Regionally in Africa, we have the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. This came after the UNCRC, and it basically brought in the aspects of UNCRC and made it more relatable to our African context. So the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child is a domestication of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. You will ask, why was UNCRC domesticated? It is because our African children have unique issues that need specialized intervention. So after the coming of the UNCRC, Kenya in turn went further and domesticated the charter, the African Charter on the Rights of and Welfare of the Child. It domesticated in the following ways. We have the Constitution of Kenya, which is the supreme law of the land, and it contains child protection laws, policies, and systems. The system is basically extracted from the Constitution. And we also have the Children's Act. We have the Penal Code, Sexual Offences Act, Employment Act, Disabilities. All this speak sense into protecting children and keeping them safe from harm. So that is basically child rights. It is enshrined. It is a special human right applicable to children. It's found in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The UNCRC was domesticated through the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child that made more sense to us as Africans because our children have, special and unique issues. We went further as a country to domesticate it in, bringing about the Constitution, Children's Act, and all the other legislation. Now, for the question whether these children have rights, you have the answer. Every child has a right. Every right has a responsibility attached to it. So this means these children have a right, the rights that they are not enjoying. So to answer the question on who is responsible in ensuring that these children enjoy their rights, we shall expound on the concept of a duty bearer and a right holder. So a duty bearer simply is an entity or a person that ensures that a right is respected, protected, and fulfilled. And a right holder is that individual or group of people who benefit from those rights. For this case, the duty bearer is the state, as stated in the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child. The state is the supreme duty bearer, and it's mandated with the responsibility of respecting, protecting, and fulfilling children's rights. So the state maintains the ultimate responsibility, but it may delegate those responsibility to other entities. Now that is where the civil society organizations come in. The parents and caregivers are also duty bearers, but they come in as secondary duty bearers. For right holders, in this case, we have children who benefit from these rights. But parents are also considered right holders in this case because they are entitled to assistance from the state in raising their children, advising them, and guiding them accordingly. So back to our Sally story, our Sally case study. you have the answer by now. The duty bearer, the one who was supposed to ensure that these children enjoy their rights, was the state. Now, what do you mean by the state? The state is anyone and everyone employed by the government, right from the grassroots level to the national level. So looking at it, we can think of the village elder, we can think of, you know, that community administrator, the assistant chief, the chief, all the way. But the main department mandated with dealing with issues children, protecting children, is the children's department. But the children's department cannot work in isolation. It is working with these other departments to ensure that children are protected. In this case, a concerned neighbor could have gone to, say, a village elder or to the children's department, or any government office, and report about this matter, and then the matter is taken up and then addressed appropriately. So yes, these children have this, they are the right holders in this case, and the duty bearer that was supposed to ensure they enjoy these rights is the state. There are four major guiding principles of the UANCRC. The principle number one is non-discrimination, and this ensures equality to every child despite their characteristics or status. It protects children from exclusion and accordance of less favorable treatment. The principle number two is the principle of best interest of the child, and this ensures that any act done or decision made for and behalf of a child ensures best interest of the child reigns supreme as the primary consideration. The principle number three is survival and development, and this looks at children's economic and social life. Every child should be provided with basic needs and be nurtured fully. The principle number four is the principle of participation, and this brings in the child's views, opinions, and interests. Children have the right to express themselves freely in matters affect them. Children's rights are divided into four categories. Survival rights fall under the first category, and then we have protection rights, developmental rights as the third, and participation rights as the fourth. We shall look at each. Our first category of child rights is the survival rights, and this ensures survival of a child, and it includes the most basic of needs, the right to life, the right to health care, the right to enough food and clean water. So the government as the key duty bearer has the responsibility of ensuring that it provides basic services to children that includes nutrition, clean water, health care, and a safe environment for children to thrive. The second category of rights is protection rights, and this includes preventing children from all kinds of abuse, harm, danger. That includes physical, psychological, sexual, and emotional at all times, and they are as outlined there. The third category is developmental rights. These are rights that ensures a child develops fully to his or her full potential as outlined there. And the fourth category is participation rights, rights that helps children freely express their thoughts, views, and opinion, and participate in the decision-making process on issues affecting them. So the UNCRC emphasizes on the important role of parents, caregivers, families, and community in ensuring that these children enjoy their rights. Of course, emphasizing on the importance of respecting cultural diversity. So for our case here, our case study, we can see Sally's family is missing quite a number of rights here, and we have responsibility at individual levels, at family level, at the community level to help these children get their rights. How then can we ensure that these children enjoy their rights and they remain protected, they participate, they develop, they survive? I mean, how can we ensure that they enjoy their rights? One, through awareness creation. Most people have heard about child rights, but they do not know what really child rights really is. So it's always important to speak about it. So, or even those who have heard, maybe they may need a reminder about it, because we as adults, as I started in my introduction, I said we have a lot of things in our lives, you know, that we get engrossed in, and we most of the times forget about these children. So a reminder on that helps out. Linking children to available social services like Sally's case, it could have been better for a neighbor or someone who knew about this case to link these children to a department mandated with this responsibility, that is the children's department or any state office in that village, influencing policies and legislations to ensure that children matters are being incorporated in policies and legislations that are passed. Budgetary advocacy as well, so that children matters can be allocated for enough money so that they can get the best possible services. Also, encouraging children's participation in governance, because this will bring in a child's voice, a child's view, a child's opinion on matters affecting them.
With that, we have come to the end of our discussion today. I hope you have enjoyed. For more of such contents, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell to get future notifications on our uploads.